Right, my beloved Madridistas, welcome back to Madrid. Welcome back to the channel. What a performance! What a performance! I'm really genuinely excited about what I'm seeing. I want to give you guys my thoughts on the match against Levante last night. I thought this was really, things are coming together, and I think in my previous videos, you've noticed, I tried to transmit a little bit of patience. These things take time. New systems take time. Players take time to adapt. But you could see that we were on the right path. And last night, I think, is confirmation that we are definitely moving in the right direction. This is a fantastic situation. I think Xavi is doing a wonderful job. No matter how much we rotate and how much we switch players around, the system doesn't. The system is the system, and every player seems to know what they're doing. And no matter how much you sort of change the pieces around, the result is the same. This is fast, aggressive, quick, vertical football with a very high level of intensity, a great high press, and just a team that knows what it's doing and is hungry to score goals and create chances. I could not be happier. Okay, we have a few individual players to discuss as well, but again, I think Xavi's doing an excellent job. Let me give you my thoughts on the match last night. Obviously, very excited, but lots to talk about. So let's get started. Madridistas, welcome back. Okay, let's talk about this fantastic performance last night. What a night. I mean, that was just wonderful. Okay, now before we get started talking about the match, just something I wanted to share with you guys. I was watching Real Madrid television before the match. They have a segment called Hoy Jugamos, and it's just a really good sort of preview of the match, and sort of you can see the team warm up, etc. And yesterday they were discussing something that I talk about a lot on this channel, unfortunately, but it's just so relevant that we kind of have no choice. But I just want to show you this real quick before we talk about the match. Now, you guys have already seen this slide, which has done the rounds in the media. And this is basically, if you look at the last 25 years, basically in this century, the number of, the net red cards for and against for Barça and Real Madrid. And you've seen this slide before. And if you look at, in the Champions League, the numbers look pretty similar, which is what you would expect. But in the domestic Liga, the difference is 67. I mean, we're at -2. Barça's at 65 net positive red cards, meaning that their rivals, the teams they play against, have gotten 65 red cards. The balance of pro and against is 65 in the positive. We are 2 in the negative. Now, a lot of these leagues are won by 1 or 2 points. You don't think 67 red cards have made a difference. Anyway, now in addition to that slide, they showed some others that I hadn't seen before. And these are slides relating to just this year, okay? Now, just very quickly, this slide is the yellow cards that rivals receive. So teams playing against Real Madrid have received 4 yellow cards so far this year. And teams playing against Barça have received 15 yellow cards. So that's a very, very significant difference in terms of how strict you are with the rival teams. Now, let's look at another interesting statistic. These are the fouls that are permitted until your rivals get a yellow card. So in the case of Barça, if you foul them 3.8 times, on average just below 4 times, the first yellow card will come out. So Barça only needs to get fouled 3.8 times for the yellow cards to start coming out against their rivals. Real Madrid, the number is 15. The difference is just astronomical. Okay, one more interesting statistic I found. The number of fouls until we get a yellow card. Well, we only need to commit 6.4 fouls. And we start getting yellows. Barça can commit 10.2 fouls before they start getting yellows. So no matter how you dice it, numbers don't lie. And we see this skew week in, week out. But it's just interesting to put numbers to the narrative, because at the end of the day, numbers don't lie. But anyway, I needed to share that with you guys because it's a topic I discuss quite a bit. But let's talk about the match. Okay, now, in terms of the lineup, this year is really fun because it's impossible to guess the lineups with Xavi. I mean, this is like it's absolutely impossible to figure it out. But it's incredibly reassuring that no matter what combination of players he puts out, it seems to work every time. I think the players understand the system and everybody does their part. This is the lineup that came out on Real Madrid TV. Now, when I saw it, I thought, what the hell is that? Like, how can we be playing, everybody out of position? Carreras out of position, Asensio out of position. So in my mind, I thought, well, okay, maybe these are just the players that are coming out, but maybe the formation will look like this. So I had the idea that maybe he'd come out with three center backs. He'd have sort of a double pivot with Arda and Ceballos, and that would, maybe that way you can kind of fit people in their logical place. Well, once again, I was wrong. They ended up playing like this. They ended up playing exactly as Real Madrid TV showed it, which is really startling because, like I say, Carreras, playing center back, Asensio playing right back. It's something I didn't expect. So the lineup is always something very interesting in the world of Xabi Alonso, but I'm really encouraged at how well it's working. Okay, in terms of the match itself, look, it kind of felt quite open in the first few minutes. The grass itself was... very often you'll notice they wet the grass before matches, and the idea when you do that is to make the pitch a little faster. The ball skids a little faster. So when you want to accelerate the speed of the pitch, you sort of use the sprinklers. Now it's good for the pitch to be a little bit wet. Last night it was actually very, very wet. You actually had puddles, which impeded the normal rotation of the ball. So the pitch was very, very wet, and unfortunately I did get in the way of play on a few occasions. But anyway, we started to create chances fairly early. From about the 7th or 8th minute, a very good shot by Mastantuono. We kind of sort of, in the first few minutes, we started slow, but started to get into the game. After about the 10th minute, I noticed that we started recovering the ball much more quickly. Arda Güler started to appear with a lot more frequency on the ball. Levante had a pretty good chance in the 12th minute. They were also trying to push up when they had the opportunity. But little by little, I think Real Madrid started to really take over. In the 20th minute, we had a really interesting play where Vini had a couple of really good opportunities. A great shot that ricocheted. The ball came to Franco Mastantuono, kind of caught him off guard. It came really quickly, and he hit the crossbar. But a very, very good play there. And then the first goal finally came in the 27th minute. And this was just a magnificent goal by Vini, a very, very intelligent goal. And this reminded me a lot of, and I'm going to have to flex here, if you guys remember that famous goal by Ronaldinho at Stamford Bridge against Chelsea, I remember that goal because I was at Stamford Bridge right behind Peter Cech. I remember that goal vividly. Where Ronaldinho was just standing in place and kind of toe-poked the ball unexpectedly. This felt very, very similar. Vini was just sort of standing in place and with the outside of his foot put just enough spin on the ball to get to the far post. This was an absolutely brilliant goal, technically and in terms of just intelligence, to see that little gap and to put the ball in the second post. A wonderful goal by Vini, who I think had a really good night. Now, after the goal, we were still sort of in charge. We didn't take our foot off the gas. Vini and Mastantuono were really electric yesterday. I thought, especially in the first half, both of those players I thought were just fantastic. Kylian had a very quiet first half, interestingly, but then he lit up in the second half. So they seemed to alternate. In the first half, I think Vini and Mastantuono were carrying the weight of the attack, with Arda doing a great job in the midfield. And then in the second half, I think Kylian sort of woke up. In the 38th minute, we had the goal from Mastantuono, the first goal with a Real Madrid shirt, and what I loved about this goal was, he had passing options. If you watch this goal again, he had passing options, but he chose to shoot himself. Now, this just shows you how hungry he is to score. You can tell he's been wanting this, and he was willing to risk missing. But he really, you can tell how ambitious a player he is. He had an option to pass the ball, but chose to shoot with his bad foot, with the right foot, but the ball went right in the corner, just totally unstoppable. This was a magnificent goal by a player we're going to talk about in a minute, because I think there's something very special about Franco Mastantuono. In the final minutes of the first half, again, we just continued to create chances, played very, very well. We finished the first half with 17 shots on goal. 17. I think the other day the number was 18. 17 shots on goal. This could have easily been 4-0 at the half. A lot of matches, if you notice, a lot of matches are like this. We create so many scoring opportunities. So we anyway finished out a very, very good first half. The second half, things kind of looked under control. I think we were maybe slightly relaxed, and I think that kind of, we sort of, I think, brought it down a gear. And I think on the back of that, you saw the 2-1, the goal by Levante. This was kind of a bizarre ball that kind of had a real arch to it. Courtois sort of mismeasured, I think, there was contact by the forward from Levante, but I don't think it was a foul. I think this was a perfectly legitimate goal. I think Courtois just kind of miscalculated. But that was the 2-1, and what I really liked is our reaction to the 2-1. Now, after that goal went in, you could have expected a lot of different reactions. Maybe Real Madrid to become a little bit, nervous or anxious. That wasn't the case at all. This was sort of playing with no doubt and your balls out. They played with, all they did was kind of lift the level of intensity, continue doing what they were doing, but with more intensity and more focus. There was no hesitation at all in play. I think mentally the team is showing a lot of strength this year. When we face adversity, which we have on a number of occasions, we really rise to the occasion. This is not a team that crumbles under pressure. I thought the reaction to the 2-1 was fantastic. In the 61st minute, you had the penalty on Kylian. Again, this is a classic dribble, goes into the box. When you're expecting him to make that cut, he sort of fakes. Again, this is a provoked penalty by a brilliant player who I think is in probably the best form of his career. And then not only does he provoke the penalty, but he scores it in Panenka style. And I think this just gives you an idea of the level of confidence that Kylian is playing with these days. He's just playing, I think he feels in his mind that he's Superman. And on the pitch he looks like Superman. He looks unstoppable at the moment. In the 66th minute, only 5 minutes after that, we had the 4-1. This was a beautiful pass by Arda Güler. When Arda's in the center of the pitch, you can create so much danger, because this kid has just wonderful vision, and the accuracy of his passing is just beautiful. A wonderful pass by Arda, and of course Kylian made a classic run into the box around the keeper to score the 4-1. Just a beautiful, beautiful goal, beautiful team play. In the 71st minute, you had the first changes. Fede and Mastantuono came off, gave way to Tchouaméni and Jude. In the 82nd minute, more changes. Kylian and Ceballos came off. Rodrigo and Camavinga came in. And then as we sort of played the final minutes of the match, we continued to create chances. This was just a really good all-around match. Even when Levante was pushing up and we're sort of defending, the moment we stole the ball and started a counter, we just looked lethal. We just looked absolutely lethal. This is the Real Madrid that I love to see. I'm incredibly happy with what I'm seeing. Look, in terms of broad takeaways, I would say the following. Number one, this system is working. The system is working because no matter how many times you change the actual pieces, the result and style of play is the same. This means that the team is very well managed, that the players have a very crystal clear idea of what they need to do. So the first observation I would make is that this system works and this team is very well managed, because no matter how many times you change the pieces, the style, the play is in sync, and it's the same style of play every time. Number two, no matter who plays, this team creates an enormous amount of chances. If you guys are aware, if you look at the number of shots and shots on goal, the statistics are staggering. This is a team that generates enormous amounts of danger, no matter who. I mean, look at yesterday. We had players playing out of position. Asencio playing right back, that's not his position. Carreras playing center back, that's not his position. Fran Garcia playing, left back, and he barely gets to play. But even with all of those dislocations, the team is still creating a huge amount of chances. Like I say, 17 shots on goal in the first half, absolutely extraordinary. So this is a team that again works as a team and generates a lot of opportunities as a team. Okay, number 3, my third takeaway from yesterday would be that Vini fits into the system. Vini can fit into the system. In the last few matches, he felt very disconnected to me, a little bit like he was kind of in his own world, playing his own thing. That wasn't the case yesterday. Yesterday, he felt connected to the team. It felt like he was part of the system. He was letting go of the ball when he needs to let go of the ball. He was making the runs that he's supposed to make, moving the ball quickly, taking players on one-on-one when it makes sense, but returning the ball when it doesn't make sense. Yesterday, I think Vini showed us that he fits into the system and he can play the team system. And he had a fantastic match. I think Vini, the road to recovery for Vini will be to play the kind of collective play that he demonstrated yesterday. So I think that would be my third takeaway. Vini fits in this squad if he focuses and doesn't get distracted with nonsense. Okay, number 4, I would say Franco Mastantuono is a very rare breed. This kid is different. It's very hard to describe. I don't know quite how to describe it, but he's different. The way he carries the ball, the way he dribbles, his decision-making, there's just something different about this player. He is fantastic. It reminds me a little bit of, if you remember Raúl in the days of the Galácticos, and they interviewed Alex Ferguson, and I remember Alex Ferguson saying, Raúl is one of the best in the world, and none of us understand how or why, because he wasn't particularly strong, wasn't particularly fast, didn't dribble particularly well, wasn't particularly good. But, you can't pinpoint it down to any one thing, but there was just something special about Raúl. And I have that feeling with Mastantuono. There's just something special about this player. And I think we have a lot of really, really interesting football ahead of us with this kid. I'm so excited about it. Okay, takeaway number 5, Carreras is a beast. I don't know. This guy is, I'm so impressed every single match he plays. Carreras is a blessing. He's just an exceptional left back, and I had to mention that. And takeaway number 6, as far as I'm concerned, we can dream. This is a squad that allows us to dream. Based on what I'm seeing, I think we can win things this year. And I don't want to jinx anything, but we have a shot at absolutely everything this year. Based on what I'm seeing, because I'm absolutely delighted with what I'm seeing. This is a team that plays with just so much energy, so much intensity, so much speed, so much verticality. It's so vertical. It's just a really, really good. I think we can aspire to absolutely everything that every tournament we enter this year. So very hopeful. Okay, in terms of individual players, very quickly, Courtois, I would say, had a reasonable day. I'd give it a 6. Didn't have a lot of work. The goal, I don't know if there was maybe more that he could do, possibly. So you could call that, I don't know, maybe a semi-error. But I think overall Courtois, I would say, had a decent match. Maybe give him a 6 out of 10 or something like that. Okay, Asensio played very well as right back. Especially in recovery. He's very speedy. I've mentioned this before. I was kind of, concerned about how Asensio would do playing in this position. But I think he proved that he can plug that hole very well. I thought maybe Xavi would opt to use Fede as right back and maybe release Camavinga into the double pivot with Tchouaméni. That didn't happen. He leaned on Asensio for that right back position. I think he did a really good job yesterday. Okay, Huijsen, fantastic. I think he had a very solid performance. Didn't set the world on fire, but didn't make any mistakes, which is exactly what you want from your center backs. Again, I'm gonna make a note of his deep passing. Huijsen loves to make these sort of low, quick, diagonal balls to try to get past that first line of pressure. He has a very good eye for runs up front. So he's not just a wonderful defender, but I think a great player in terms of surprising our opponents with deep balls. He's just very aware. And I love that about Huijsen. He's a playmaker in addition to being a wonderful defender. Okay, Carreras, I don't know what to say. He had another perfect match. This kid is everywhere. He's lightning fast, defends beautifully, attacks every single time, combines very well with whoever the hell he has in front of him. on the left-hand side. He seems to combine perfectly with whoever's playing that position. Carrera so far has just been fantastic. Okay, Fran. I think Fran had a decent match on the left. Doesn't get a lot of minutes, so it's very difficult for a player to sort of step into these situations. But I think he had a decent match. Fran always runs a lot. He's a player that always gives sort of 100% physically. Didn't do anything. I think in the first half he put a lot of really interesting balls into the box. So he did sort of participate in attack, a little bit less so in the second half. But I think overall Fran had a decent performance. So I think, as a sort of second tier player for that position, I think he does a reasonable job. Okay, Ceballos, better than expected. I would, out of 10, I'd maybe give him an 8. Typically, this time I think he was a lot quicker releasing the ball. He played a lot more into sort of quick circulation of the ball. He didn't hold things up. I think he defended pretty well. And like I say, just kind of understood the kind of quick rotation of the ball. And didn't impede it. Sometimes he slows things down. I didn't think he did yesterday, and he was very, very active. So I think Ceballos had one of the better games I remember seeing him play. Okay, Fede was better than in previous matches. I'd give him maybe a 7 this time around. He was, first of all, he was a lot more visible. If you notice, he was a lot more involved in the attack. Even got, a couple of shots off from distance. Yesterday, I think he was a little bit more visible, participated a little bit more. Fede is always a wonderful, defensive midfielder. He never lets us down, but yesterday I think he participated a little bit more going forward than we're used to this season. So I think Fede had a good game. Arda, I think, had an exceptional match. I'd probably give him an 8 or a 9. He is showing us, after about the 15th minute, he started to get into play. I think the first few minutes he was kind of quiet, but once he kicked into gear, he played very, very well, was very involved in kind of all aspects of play. By the way, he's developing a very good relationship with Kylian. I don't know if you've noticed, but the connection between Arda and Kylian is getting better and better. These two players are kind of understanding each other really, really well. And some of the assists that Arda, some of the passes he makes to Kylian are really, really excellent. There's an incredible kind of, connection between these two players that I think is going to give us a hell of a lot of happiness this year. Okay, Mastantuono, I thought he was fabulous, especially in the first half. I'd probably give him an 8. This is a player, his intensity is amazing. His aggressiveness is amazing. He always wants to take people on. He always wants to initiate a play. And then, of course, defensively, he runs nonstop. Physically, he gives 110%. He's in, amazing physical shape, but has wonderful technique. Scored his first goal. I think he had a wonderful all-around game. And I think Mastantuono is proving that he's one of the very key pieces of this squad. I think for the rest of the year, Mastantuono. I don't know if he'll start every single match, but pretty close to it because I think he's an exceptional player. Okay, Bini finally had a good game, what we've been hoping for all season. He finally felt connected to the rest of the team. Excellent passing, a sort of magnificent assist, a wonderful goal. Vini, I think yesterday played with a lot of focus and concentration. And when he does, that's the Vini that we need. The Vini that plays for the team, that doesn't get distracted with nonsense. And I think yesterday he showed that he can fit beautifully in Xavi's system. All right, Kylian, I think a very quiet first half. I think in the first half he was kind of almost non-existent, but then he lit it up in the second half, and he always looks just so quick, so fresh, so dangerous. So Kylian, I would say, had a really good game, back-end loaded, a better second half than he did in the first half. Like I say, in this team, it doesn't seem to matter because we generate chances no matter what. But I think Kylian played a very, very good game. And it's just, with him, it's just a matter of time before he puts the ball in the back of the net. He's playing with so much confidence. He's just in incredible shape. So I think Kylian was fantastic. Okay, Jude and Tchouaméni came in. You can't really say too much. They didn't play too many minutes. But obviously very good to see Jude kind of getting back into rhythm. But listen, those are my thoughts. I have nothing but really good things to say. I love where this team is going. I think we have a shot at everything this year. And I just really love the kind of vertical, aggressive, quick play. This is a really exciting season. Xavi is doing a wonderful job. But some of you guys might disagree with me, so let me know what you think in the comment section. But thanks for joining me as always. Let me know your thoughts. Thanks for joining me as always and forever. A la Madrid.